You're about to enter the Reb Zone Sports Show on Fox 5.
Full speed ahead for the Rebels.
Hey, start the finish. Let's get out.
The Rebel rally to do something that hasn't been done in 3 decades.
Oh, baby, that's ball.
We're taking you inside a last-second thriller for UNLV.
The kick is good!
It's time to flip out, Las Vegas. Your football team is hot, and they're in the Reb Zone right now.
This is the Reb Zone Sports Show, only on Fox 5.
Good evening and welcome inside the Reb Zone after a heart-stopping win last night for UNLV against Hawaii. Kevin Bollinger alongside UNLV head football coach Bobby Houck. And those are what they say in the coaching profession, the gray hair games, right?
They are. I'm glad it's starting to creep in there a little bit, what's left of it. But that was a lot of fun last night. You know, obviously it could have been a win where we pulled away from them, but we quit making plays and made it interesting, to say the least.
A win is a win. Let's start breaking it down. The Rebels knew that beating Hawaii would not be an easy task, and right away it was very clear that this would be a slugfest.
It's game day, baby. Lead the ball. Head bustin', head, bustin' head. Hey. Start the finish. Let's get after it. Let's go. Win on me. Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win.
A huge crowd and a festive atmosphere greeted the Rebels as fans showed up to see if UNLV could stay hot. On the Rebels' first possession, they drove down to the 2 and went for it on 4th and goal, but were denied as Caleb Herring was sacked. Later in the first quarter, UNLV was knocking on the door again, but on 4th down, another denial by the Warrior defense. After field goals were exchanged, UNLV was up 6-3, but Sean Schroeder finds Donnie King Jr. to give Hawaii a 10-6 lead. The Rebels fought back and go 53 yards in 4 plays and 47 seconds, capped by this Tim Cornette run. It was 13-10 Rebels with 1:35 left. The Hawaii answers as Schroeder goes up top for Chris Gantz, and the two teams went into the locker room at halftime with Hawaii up 17-13.
So take us through the decision on the 4th down plays. You had 2 there in the first quarter. Obviously, the 4th and 2 is a little bit more obvious, but yeah, went a little bit deeper back. Why not put the points on the board and decide to go for it?
Well, you know, when we talk about that, we always assume points are automatic, and they're not. You know, anytime you have to kick a thing, you have to snap it, hold it, and kick it, so it's not automatic. But, you know, no one loves a coward, as I said after the game, but nobody likes an idiot either. We went for it a couple times. We felt like we had good plays. We felt like we knew what they were going to do, and they just made good plays. And, you know, so be it. But we're kind of a go-for-it bunch. We're going to keep going for it.
That's why they're called the Rebels, right?
That's right.
Hawaii's big men, they're fast and they're physical, and it looked like their defensive line was certainly getting a lot of penetration on UNLV in the first quarter.
Yeah, they've got a talented football team. They've been a little bit snake-bit. They've played an extremely tough schedule. But they're a talented football team. They do a lot of good things. I mean, from the teams we've played so far, I think, you know, Tom Kammerer, their defensive coordinator, probably does the things that are most problematic to try to scheme against. And we struggled with it for 2 weeks trying to get ready for it. And you know, we had a lot of yards, a lot of points, but, you know, I'm glad we ended up coming up with a win there last night.
Well, this season we have seen the Rebels make the right halftime adjustments on both offense and defense. And the second half really turned into an offensive showcase and turned wild in the fourth quarter, setting up one of the most dramatic finishes in recent UNLV memory.
Win on me, win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win!
The Rebels had the ball to start the second half and immediately drove down the field, 75 yards in 10 plays. Herring goes over the middle to Anthony Williams, who makes a great grab for the score, and the Rebels regain the lead. They extended it to 23-17 on a Nolan Cohorst 41-yard field goal. Then the defense continued on lockdown mode. Hawaii denied on 4th down, and the offense went right back to work. Cornett finishing a 65-yard drive with a 5-yard touchdown scamper. That made it 30-17 Rebels, but they weren't done. Early in the fourth quarter, the quarterback draw, and Herring goes in untouched for 6. The two-point conversion failed, but UNLV had a 36-17 lead with 13:11 left and were looking good. But Hawaii mounted a furious comeback. Steve Lakalaka took it in from 15 yards out to cut the Rebel lead to 36-23. Then Schroeder goes downfield to a wide-open Billy Ray Stutzman, and all of a sudden it was a 36-30 game with 5:54 left. With just under 2 minutes to go, Schroeder finds Chris Gant, who splits the defenders, gets loose, and goes the distance, 44 yards. The extra point put Hawaii on top 37-36 with 1:44 left. Herring and the offense went to work with 3 timeouts from their own 23. The key play of the drive, this catch by Marcus Sullivan with a 15-yard face mask penalty tacked on. After another catch by Sullivan put the ball on the 26 with 5 seconds left, kicker Nolan Cohorst trotted out. The Green Valley High School product set up from 44 yards out.
The snap is good. The ball is down. The kick is up. The kick is on the way. The kick is good! The kick is good! And the Rebels are going bananas. Holy Toledo!
A wild finish and an even wilder scene after the game as the magic continues. UNLV rallies for the 39-37 win to move to 4-2 at the halfway point of the season and their first regular season 4-game win streak since 1984.
So Hawaii storms back and takes the lead. You get the ball back on your own 23. You got plenty of time. You have 3 timeouts, and you have one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the country right now. Tell us your mindset in terms of setting that drive up to get Nolan Cohorst into position.
Well, we really didn't want to be in that position. Obviously, we're up 19 and feeling pretty good. But then, things happen in football. It's an interesting game that way. And we had 1:44 left and 3 timeouts. So we really didn't need to be in a hurry. We had 3 timeouts. With 3 timeouts, you can go the length of the field. You kind of have your whole offense. You don't probably have the ability to run it on every down if you so chose to do that. But if you looked at it, our first play was a run play for 10 yards, and we didn't even have to use a timeout there because they were moving the chains, and we got going. The overturned call at the end of it, which would have made it a lot shorter field goal, made it more interesting because we only had 14 seconds left, and we got 2 more plays in and had 2 short gains, which it wasn't a gain of a whole bunch, but it got us about 7 or 8 yards closer, which made the field goal a little more doable. And then obviously Nolan, with some help from some other guys, banged it through, and the Rebels win. So yeah, good stuff.
The confidence of your kicker, and who's been solid all year long, but obviously there's more than just the kick. You have to have the good snap and the good hold, and it was one of the best sequences we've seen on special teams.
Yeah, it was good by our guys. It was pretty much right down the middle, and our guys, there's not, you were down there on the sideline, you saw it, nobody gets real apprehensive, nobody panics. It's something we practice a lot, multiple times every week, and our guys executed it pretty flawlessly.
It did seem like the team maybe relaxed a little bit once you got the 19-point lead in the fourth quarter and lost a little bit of intensity. Did you feel that way?
It's hard for me to get a sense for that because I don't tend to lose mine, and I got my back to most of what's going on behind me. I'm seeing what's on the field. And I would have to agree that potentially could be the case. And we're going to talk about that in our staff meeting today, later on after we get done filming here. But, this winning games and being in front by multiple scores is a little bit of new territory for the kids on our team. And all of this is a learning experience for them. And we've got to keep developing that and learn how to do that and develop some of that killer instinct, because we haven't been in that position a whole bunch.
Some records were set last night. 113 offensive plays for UNLV. That's a school record, a conference record, and just 2 shy of the national record, and also 38 first downs in this game.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I think that the play number is the second most in history in a regular season non-overtime game. So a lot of plays, a lot of first downs, a lot of exciting stuff out the stadium.
The takeaway, you know, what is the takeaway, I guess, from the big loss of the fourth quarter lead, but then seeing your team step up and rally back for the win?
Well, you just find ways to win. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it, and there's a lot of ways to lose games. And like Don James told me one time, he said, remember this, a lot more games are lost than are won. And sometimes it just comes down to deciding you're going to go win the game, and that's what our guys did. You know, we had opportunities to do that, and we finally seized it, even though it was 5 seconds left.
After the game, the players obviously were all smiles. They know what this win meant, but they also know there's some big games left to go.
I didn't know what to do. Never hit a game winner before, so I just ran towards my team, and they came and found me too.
It's really like unexplainable right now. It's like the emotion everybody's feeling is just unexplainable. It's just something I never felt before, and it's a great win for us. We're 4-2 right now, and it gives us momentum going into next week.
We talked about uncharted territory, but I don't think anybody involved with this football team is really surprised with the 4-2 start that you guys have had.
No, I mean, we go into every game trying to win it, and always have. I think we're a little more capable of doing that right now than we have been in past years. And there are many challenges ahead. You and I talked middle of the week last week, so we got a big October in front of us, and getting Hawaii last night was a big deal for us to get to 4-2 and first place tie in the West Division of the Mountain West Conference, and just kind of fired up about where we're sitting.
Perfect segue into what we're talking about next, because perhaps the biggest challenge of the year for the Rebels comes next week, and that's a road trip to Fresno State. And straight ahead in the Reb Zone, we're going to preview what the Bulldogs bring to the table in a game where the winner does take over first place in the division.
You're watching the Reb Zone Sports Show on Fox 5.
Up next for the Rebels, the aerial show of Derek Carr and Fresno State, and the winner takes control of the West Division of the conference. The Bulldogs can cause all kinds of problems with their offense, but their defense is where opponents have made some inroads. This has barn burner written all over.
When you think Fresno State, you think offense. Quarterback Derek Carr is putting up monster numbers. In just 5 games, Carr has thrown for 1,864 yards and 19 touchdowns. He's considered among the nation's elite.
That's why I'm confident that we can compete for championships, because of Derek Carr. I think he's as good as anybody in the country. As talented as he is, he's got even more intangibles that make him a great person and great player, great leader. He probably works harder than anybody on our team.
Fresno State also has a high-caliber receiver named Devontae, as in Devontae Adams, who has 52 receptions and is coming off a monster game against Idaho with 16 catches for 185 yards and 3 touchdowns. While the offense is averaging 47.4 points per game, the Bulldogs' defense has been giving up a lot of points as well, more than 33 a week, causing Fresno State to be in some close games, but they've won them all. Once again, the schedule maker isn't giving UNLV a break. For the second time in 3 weeks, the Rebels face a team coming off a bye with 2 weeks to prepare and get rested. And they'll also be getting a road homecoming game. Not that Fresno fans need any more reason to show up. It's one of the most intense stadiums in the Mountain West.
It's rowdy. It is. It's ruthless. It's loud. especially when we're having a good year, it's going to be loud.
For all of the energy that goes into a football game, Carr stays surprisingly low-key on game day, even sneaking in a few hours of video games before kickoff. Of course, it's NCAA football, and Carr always picks Fresno State as his team.
They made me pretty good on the game this year, so I've been playing with us a lot, and we're pretty good on there.
The Bulldogs are also pretty good in reality. This could turn into a good old-fashioned shootout.
So Derek Carr obviously is going to get his yards during a game. I would assume that the goal is to just try and limit him as much as possible, not only in what he can do, but the number of possessions that they would get.
Yeah, if we can hold on to the ball a little bit, that'll help, because they have a really dynamic offense. We know these guys well. Derek Carr is a really fine player, one of the better quarterbacks in the country probably. Tim DeRuyter, the head coach, is a good friend, know him well. Dave Schramm, their offensive coordinator, worked with us at Montana, so we're familiar with these guys. We know what they're about. They play hard, they're well coached, and we're going to really have our hands full this weekend.
Offensively, is it hard not to get caught up in the mentality of we've got to go big, we've got to score every time, because we know that Fresno State can put a lot of points on the board?
Well, I think you're trying to score every time anyway, so it's not necessarily anything wrong with that. I think it's more about figuring out how to try to put up a few speed bumps and slow them down a little bit.
And environment-wise, Fresno is going to have a big crowd. They always do, and a rowdy crowd. Probably the most intense environment you've seen so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, Fresno's a good place. They have a good home field advantage. They fill it up. It's a loud place, but it's what you like. You don't want to go play in some empty, quiet stadium. That's what the kids like. They want to be in front of a lot of people and have a great atmosphere, and that's what it's going to be.
We're looking forward to it. And up next in the Rev Zone, we're going to switch gears to hoops for a moment. The basketball season is here, and I sat down with all the Mountain West coaches this week. Who's picked to win the conference, and where do the Running Rebels stand in the preseason poll? Find out in just 2 minutes.
You're watching the Reb Zone Sports Show on Fox 5.
Well, we may be in the middle of football season, but basketball season is starting up as well. The Running Rebels have already started practice, and Thursday at 7:30 over at the Thomas & Mack, UNLV will host the Scarlet and Gray Showcase, free to the fans to get an early look at the team. Now, a few days ago, I was at the Mountain West Basketball Media Days in Colorado Springs and had a chance to talk about why this conference will once again be a rough road to a championship.
Every head basketball coach in the conference got together to meet with the media and break down what's expected to be another wild year in the Mountain West.
Toughest places to play. They got great coaches, great atmospheres. Hard to get to, some of them are. And so it's just from top to bottom one of the best leagues around. And last year there was no bottom, so it was one of the best leagues in the country.
Running Rebel head coach Dave Rice also took the opportunity to talk some shop before things get serious on the court.
It's exciting to come and see not only coaches, but coaches who are friends and people that I respect greatly, people that I've admired in our business, and now to be able to have a relationship with those guys is something that's special for me. Coaches are very, very good guys, and it's good that there's so much respect among the coaches in this league.
New Mexico was picked to win it all in the preseason poll. UNLV and Boise State tied for second with San Diego State fourth. One thing every coach stressed was the loud and crazy environments in Mountain West arenas.
I would put ours up against anybody in the country in terms of excitement, major college feel and appeal, excitement, and it translates into a huge home court edge for all of us.
The newest and perhaps craziest will be in Logan, where Utah State has built a reputation for atmosphere.
It's fun, it's wild, it's a hard place to come in and play. That's what we want it to be.
A popular punching bag for Running Rebel fans is gone. New Mexico coach Steve Alford threw away his red blazer and took off for UCLA. His longtime assistant Craig Neal took over, but unlike Alford, who hated the fact that Las Vegas hosted the conference tournament, Neal sees no problem with it.
Our fans like to go to Vegas, our players like going to Vegas, so it's a good venue. So it's a great situation for the conference, and I'm sure that they're going to keep it there for a while.
The conference has a poor track record in the NCAA tournament, which the coaches said has to change for respectability. The road to the Final Four begins now.
And the road to 5-2 for the UNLV football team begins on Saturday night. We're going to take one more short break. Up next, we're going to look at the Rebel plays of the year so far and one final thought from Coach Houck. But first, here's how other teams in the Mountain West did this week.
You're watching the Reb Zone Sports Show on Fox 5.
Well, Coach, 4 in a row, first time in 30 years.
How
This
about
is
that?
starting to get real, and it's getting real fun for everybody.
Well, yeah, when you continue to win, the games get bigger and bigger every week, and the next 6 weeks can be a lot of fun around here, I think.
All right, let's see if the ride continues next week. Thanks for joining us inside the Red Zone tonight. We're going to leave you with the UNLV Plays of the Week from the win number 4 on the season. Let's keep it rolling. Good night.